got a call from a certain rapper. I won't say from who, but it's like a lyricist. I'm sure y'all know him if I say his name. He shot me a text. He's like, hit me, you gonna like this. He's like, what's up with it? How you feeling? I'm good. What's up with it? You wanna go up? I'm like, what's up? Talk to me. He said the back and forth between J. Cole and Kendrick got me fired up. I feel like we should diss each other. We cool behind closed doors. I feel like we should diss each other. We cool behind closed doors. I told him, I'm like, it's a little more personal with me. I'm not about to say certain things about you if I don't really feel a certain way about you.
Yeah, well,
Wherever the f you're from.
My homies, don't get up like that on BD. Don't do that. You know what I'm saying?
That's my bestie.
No, though. What's your thoughts, though, on fake swinging at Adam?
It was all a joke. We all knew what was going to happen. It was all a joke. We all knew what was going to happen.
King, do it. Come on.
Bestie.
You know what I'm saying?
That's my bestie.
I'm gonna do that again.
It was all a joke. We all knew what was going to happen. He's pissing me off. Can I just kill the rules? People talk about this before the cameras roll. None of that shit is just random. Oh my God, you just got
really? Where? Oh, so y'all planned it beforehand. Really? Where? Oh, so y'all planned it beforehand. Really? Where? Oh, so y'all planned it beforehand. Nah, that's crazy.
Welcome back, everybody. This video will be breaking down one of the most hidden but yet common practices in the music industry, and that is rap beef marketing. I also will be going in detail on how it affects you, so stick around. So if you've been around the internet lately, then you know it's on fire right now. People are arguing, friendships are being tested, and the culture feels more divided than ever. But why? Because two big rappers are at war with each other. But before you pick a side, ask yourself, who really benefits from this? Because I tell you who winning right now for sure. The record labels, the industry execs, and the people who profit off our division. And this ain't nothing new. They did it with Pac and Biggie. Fed the flames, sold the records, and when it got real, they stepped back and let the streets handle the rest while they silently fatten their pockets from the chaos. The same industry that acts like it cares about hip-hop loves to see us divided because division equals profit, and we fall for it every time. Now just think about it. These are two of the biggest artists in the world. If they truly had personal beef, why is it being played out in front of the entire world? Why is the media pushing it so hard? Because controversy sells. And in the music industry, a beef is just another marketing tool. So let's just go back and look at history. Muhammad Ali versus Joe Frazier, pushed as a personal war when it was really about selling tickets. WWE did this for a living, creating fake rivalries to keep fans engaged. Even in politics, they keep us fighting left versus right while the people in power stay rich. The formula never changes because it works. In the 90s, the media fueled the East Coast versus West Coast war. The headlines wasn't about the music. It was all about the beef and which coast was gonna win the war. But what did we really win from that? Two of the greatest rappers of all time were taken from us, and the labels just kept making money off their names. The fans, the culture, the communities, we were the ones who suffered. And now we're seeing the same script being replayed. Now let's get real. Record labels love a good beef. Why? Because it keeps people talking, streaming, and spending money. Labels have marketing teams who plan how to maximize beef. They push controversy because it's the fastest way to get engagement. Every diss track means more YouTube plays, more Spotify streams, more interviews, and more attention. It's the ultimate way to maximize off of a situation, to center it around controversy. And while we're out here debating, arguing, and disrespecting each other over who's the better artist, the people in charge are cashing out. It's not about loyalty to the artist. It's about how much money they can squeeze out of our emotions. But see, this is deeper than the music. This is spiritual. When we tear each other down over celebrities who don't even know us, we lose sight of real unity. The labels profit, but we suffer. Our communities suffer, and while we beefing, they eating. While we taking sides, they taking everything. This has always been the plan, to keep us so distracted by entertainment that we don't see what's really happening. Music is supposed to uplift, inspire, and empower. But when we let it turn into tribal warfare, it only weakens us.
Could we put this Drake versus Kendrick, this Kendrick versus Drake debate to bed already? Could it stop? How could it end? Where is gonna end it? Because my timeline is flooded with, especially Twitter. If Kendrick sneezed, they be like, Drake never sneezed like that. If Drake braid his hair a certain way, then Kendrick hair is not long enough to braid like that. It's driving me up a wall now. Like, again, I know I'm being hypocritical, but that was just my thing for that time. It's like the Super Bowl is over. The Party Next Door album is the Party Next Door album. The GNX album has nothing to do with the Party Next Door album. Then we watching Drake throw a slipper and yo, I'm just saying I'm just saying for real. How could we end this? As a people, as a community, how could we end this talk? Is this it forever now? Because I'm tired of grown men getting up every day groveling over Drake or Kendrick, and then the OV hoes, and that's what they call some of them, OV hoes, and then they call Kendrick, I don't know what they call the Kendrick fans, but I know OV hoes exist. But it's like every day some of y'all are on X, y'all on Facebook, like y'all can't let nothing happen without mentioning each other, the Drake or Kendrick. It's a dope picture, by the way, too. Shout out to USA Today for this. At this point, can we like both of them when they make good music, or we have to pick? Is this just a pick thing? Is it everything Kendrick does now, his whole career is highlighted about what Drake did or didn't do, and vice versa? That's where we at now? Like, they're not allowed, so now they just joined at the hip forever. It's boring, and it's kind of corny already. It's starting to get feminine to me.
It was nothing spectacular. Kendrick fans were just glazing him.
It's okay.
Drake's had enough.
Chill.
This is how Drake fans would sound if they acted like Kendrick fans. What color is the tower? It's red. What's red? Ketchup. What's the opposite of ketchup? Mustard. Mustard! He's calling out Kendrick right there, right in front of your face. The city is pretty when it's dead, just like a flower. He's saying the beef is dead. But what do flowers do? Bloom. Spring. Bloom. Flowers. He's saying new diss tracks are gonna come out in spring. He's gonna revive the beef. Listen, bro, the lyrics are going over your head. You set the bar for the next generation. You set the bar for the next generation. See what Drake is saying? There's not enough role models in society for the next generation of people. That these people are just gonna turn out to be crude, savage animals. But in reality, Drake's the one who wants to set it right, and the one who wants to motivate the next generation to be better and be better people in society. But the lyrics just go over your heads. You guys just don't understand. You want to sit here and just say that like Drake is terrible, Drake is this, Drake is that, when in reality, bro, he's giving messages about the world, but you will never understand it because you're too stupid, bro. And the people he wants to understand his music are the people he's sending a message to.
And we really gotta pay close attention to the timing of these beefs. They always seem to pop up right when something bigger is happening, like war in the world, conflict, presidential elections. And see, when there's real injustice, when laws are being passed that affect our communities, when powerful people are making moves behind the scenes, all of a sudden, now we got a major rap beef to focus on. It's no different than how ancient rulers would use gladiator fights to distract the public, keep them entertained, keep them arguing, and they won't pay attention to what really matters.
I think fans really underestimate how many people got real beef.
Real beef. Real beef.
Duty Low confronts Adam 22 for instigating beef in Chicago.
The is down behind it. You might post them on. Now they might get, now they're like, damn, what's the score or whatever. You feel me? Now they feel like, damn, we on the blogs. We got to go get back. Now it just never stopped with that. Bro, are you pushing peace?
Of course.
I think you should like go back to the old Adam where you started from, bro.
But what is it? It's the trolling and the drama that you feel like takes away from everything else?
No, because that's what sells.
It's the trolling and the drama that you feel like takes away from everything else?
No, because that's what sells. No, because that's what sells. No, because that's what sells.
Like, No Jumper, it's not my platform, it's Adam's platform, right? And the show itself.
Hey, lock on pop. Hey, listen.
Hold on, no, wait till.
You keep playing. You keep playing. The nigga just played me talking about some no.
Now let's connect a few dots. First of all, part of me kind of wonder who the baby talking about in that clip. My theory is that he's talking about J. Cole because both of them are from North Carolina, so that would have made a perfect beef because it's like, who's the king of North Carolina, right? And another hint was the baby said it's a lyrical type rapper. And another hint is J. Cole went on to beef with Kendrick Lamar and Drake. J. Cole was in the Kendrick and Drake beef and then he backed out. He was so thirsty to fake a beef for the dough. He was trying to see who would do it with him. And when the baby didn't do it, he ended up going with J. Cole and Kendrick. And I just think all of this stuff is fake or media fuel to the least, just to maximize profits. No different than WWE. And don't forget now that Lil Durk spoke about labels faking beefs too. And it just so happened that Lil Durk and the baby end up getting blackballed by the industry. And here is the tweet that Lil Durk put out on the 12th of May, 2023. It reads, labels try to pay me to beef. I just can't fake it. I'm different. I'm him. I'm predictable. So this is a very common theme in the music industry where labels will pay these artists to beef to maximize profits. And they can't say nothing about it, a non-disclosure. And what's better than paying rappers to stage beef is actual beef. So that's the level that they at now with it. Is very sinister to where they really prefer actual beef, which is why we see in drill rap nowadays what the labels are doing. They're signing rival games to the same parent company. So you will have two different gang members dissing each other, talking about what they doing on the records, self-snitching. The same parent company will be funding both sides of the war. And when one of these young boys end up dead and one end up in jail, it's still a win-win for the label. Because what did Jadakiss say? You know that dead rappers make better promotion. A rapper's sales skyrocket when they die, and the other rapper's sales skyrocket when he go to jail, because of all of the publicity surrounding the case that drags out forever and ever. And now it's so crazy they got these artists dropping albums from the prison. It's a cold game. And these guys are disposable. Yep, I said it, disposable. Just like 304s. And if you don't like hearing it from me, we can hear it from Ice-T.
When a pimp meets a girl, he puts her into a coat, and some bathing suit, and some pumps, makes her look good. When a label meets an artist, They give them a budget. They choose them, and they say, I think you can make me money. I choose a bitch. I say, I think you can make me some money. You seem to want to. The average artist walks into a record label who is a pimp and says, please pimp me. Put me out there. I need to be out. What's the first thing artists say when they come? Put me out there. So you say you want to go on the track. So what I do is I give you money. I'll make you look good. Now you get out there and you sell me some records. You sell me some pussy. See, there's a parallel. Now, they say you shake yourself, break yourself when you see a pimp. So when the bitch is on the street and she see her pimp roll up, she walk a little harder, move her ass a little harder, and she breaks herself. But when you an artist and the label management walks in and you on the stage, you dancing harder. You trying to get it off. You trying to show your pimp you a good hoe.
Another thing that people didn't pay attention to with this Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef, if Drake is losing right now and Kendrick is winning, which it does seem that way, the question I would ask is, why in the world would Drake drop an album at the lowest point in his life when his career has taken the biggest L? And the answer is, ain't no such thing as a L in the music industry when your name is coming up every day.
When you remove the snitching aspect of it, Soulja Boy is currently doing the exact same thing. Since he can't make good music anymore, Soulja Boy now sits in his mansion and randomly starts fake beefs with other rappers in order to keep his name relevant.
We promote violence. You talking about murder, destruction, death, and destruction and mayhem.
He said this dumbass shit about a month ago in an attempt to try and spark up a fake beef with NBA YoungBoy because of YoungBoy's Stop the Violence campaign.
It's a bigger side of life. Stop the violence.
Obviously, this campaign had nothing to do with Soulja Boy's dumbass, yet he decided to prop his phone up and yell on Instagram Live about it.
I'm one of the last straight rappers in the game. We promoting beef, we promoting violence.
It's like he's just begging for attention. Keep in mind, this is a 30-year-old man that was once actually the face of hip-hop. And now the same man is sitting in a multi-million-dollar mansion where he's promoting violence while the people in the hood are begging for it to stop. You just have to see the hypocrisy in that.
All publicity is good publicity in the music industry, and if people checking for you, you relevant, whether it's good or bad. It's no different than a lot of my trolls and enemies commenting on my videos to let me know how much they don't like my content. But when they do that, they're engaging with my content, giving me a view, and they're giving me a comment on my video, and what that does, it tells the YouTube algorithm that they're actually interested in my videos, so YouTube keep recommending my channel to them, and they wonder why it keeps coming up on their feed, and they don't realize if they stop engaging with the things they don't like, YouTube will stop recommending it to them. It's kind of that way in life too, what you give your energy to. So I said all that to say that everyone is still gonna go check on Drake's album that he dropped, The Party Next Door. Even though he's the underdog, the bad guy, the loser, why would he put an album out at this time if he's taking such L's? It's because L's still mean money in the music game. Because even all of Kendrick Lamar's fans are gonna go to Drake's page just to listen to his album, just to talk crap about it, which translates to money. Engagement equals money, and it doesn't matter if it's positive or negative. So Kendrick and Drake is winning here, and UMG wouldn't have it no other way, which is both of their parent label. Another thing I wanted to bring up, as we can see, platforms like No Jumper, with Adam 22, your Whack 100s, and all of that, they stage a lot of beefs too for ratings, for views. And what's so crazy about it, we know that it's staged most of the time, and it still does the numbers because people want to talk about the fact that it's staged. But staging conflict and beefs like Making the Band, it's been used by so many. Never forget that the Jerry Springer show was a complete flop until they started staging fights and staging beefs and conflicts. And a lot of the people on that show would tell you that a lot of it was staged, and if it wasn't staged, these people would show up with beefs that they wanted to resolve. They wanted to work it out. That's why they came to Jerry. But what they would do, they would throw fuel on the beef so that they can fight on the show. So it was very sinister because they ruined a lot of lives on that show. And there was even a death centered around the Jerry Springer show. I can do a whole documentary just on that. So this stuff does really affect our real lives. When you go on these shows like No Jumper and you paying these gang members to diss each other's set, even though it's fake and staged and for the internet, sometimes that don't translate well to the real streets, and it end up becoming real tension in the streets. And we gotta keep in mind, we see that Wack 100 is defending Kendrick Lamar. There's a connection there. I do think that Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef is staged, because Wack 100 learned how to stage these kind of conflicts from the music industry. He spearheaded a lot of this mess over there on No Jumper, and it brought ratings and views and money. I ain't hating on it, I just want y'all to be privy to what's going on. Kind of like if you watching WWF, you need to know they're not hitting for real. And you need to know that you basically being played, it's a fake conflict. Are you not entertained? People like academics are like the commentators and reinforcers of the quote-unquote beef. They are the promoters and sellers of these conflicts, like Don King. And they don't have a good reputation, just like Don King. Academics has been accused of instigating beefs that ain't there and fueling the flames on beefs that is there for the sake of him getting ratings, which equals to money. So academics enriched himself for years doing this at the expense of guys who was really in the streets. And this didn't translate well to the streets. A lot of blood is on his hand. So we can't act like it ain't a price to pay for this stuff. And we see all of the birds flocking together. The people that practice these same tactics. You see them all flocking together. You see academics on the No Jumper show. You see Wack 100 there. You see all of the people that run this same game on the masses.
Like the mixtape game, right?
The beef inside of hip hop is not a mixtape thing. It's a
Mixtapes,
hip hop
right.
thing. There's a lot of niggas
Right.
that got, you heard, like
yeah.
a lot of ego putting in the same room,
Right.
and it's shit is bound to happen and shit like that. Look at Kumo D, LL Cool J, like we could go on and on, but the mixtapes heightened a lot of different situations because now it was an ongoing thing that you started.
And it can be totally unfiltered. So the point I wanted to make was, right, like we talked about Empire Strikes Back. Empire Strikes Back kind of came on the heels of Ether. You know what I'm saying? And all the shit, everybody attacking Rockefeller. Then the Diplomats, Volume 3, where Jewels opens it up on Champions, going at Nas. You know what I'm saying?
At that time in hip hop, you know, we was watching Tupac and all of them, how successful they was getting off of going crazy on everybody. This was a whole era right there where this was a marketing tool that was working for major labels and artists that had the upper hand at the time and shit like that. As you can see, Nas and Jay got into their spat. That ended up being like that's what it was, and shit, we was following suit. We wasn't having nothing. You did? Like, if that's what it's gonna take for niggas to get on, we was watching Tupac and all of them, how successful they was getting off of going crazy on everybody. This was a whole era right there where this was a marketing tool that was working for major labels and artists. This was a whole era right there where this was a marketing tool that was working for major labels and artists that had the upper hand at the time and shit like that. As you can see, Nas and Jay got into their spat. That ended up being like that's what it was, and shit, we was following suit. We wasn't having nothing. You did? Like, if that's what it's gonna take for niggas to get on, weird. Like, if that's what it's gonna take for niggas to get on, weird.
So somebody asked me why I don't comment on a lot of the hip hop beef and things that go on in the industry. Well, that's simple. It's because I don't like fake shit. Most of that beef that go on in hip hop, publicity stunts, and it's all fake. I'd rather put my energy towards something else, tell y'all something that y'all might need to know.
When you think about it, it's kind of crazy how easily conflict and drama are used as marketing tools, turning real pain into mere spectacle. Every other day, it's just another story to sell and another headline to exploit. In my opinion, I don't think everything should just be reduced down to a profit. It's bigger than the money. As y'all always say, the kids look up to these artists. So how are we teaching them how to respond? Because if these are rich black men with millions of dollars that's willing to crash out and turn up, then what does that say to a young brother with nothing to lose? We're promoting this type of behavior, which goes back to the whole school to prison pipeline system. At the top, the beef can be staged, but the end result isn't fake. The beef may be fake, but the energy we're putting out is real. The message we sending the young people is real. A lot of this music is at the forefront of a lot of gang violence in these communities. It is instigating a lot of gang wars. We see what's going on with platforms like No Jumper, who try to capitalize off of drama and beef. In my opinion, it waters down the culture of hip hop, and it becomes a reality show of looking for the next fight, the next drama, similar to Making the Band. With the show Making the Band back in the day, it wasn't more so about the music as it was about staying tuned for the next conflict, the next beef or fight. And they really pushed that. P. Diddy really pushed that. So a lot of people have tapped into this tool of conflict marketing. And it ain't just with rap music, it's also with sports. For example, even the NBA has a long history of staged or what we call media fueled rivalries that help boost ratings, sell merchandise, and keep fans emotionally invested. While some of these rivalries had real competitive tension, the NBA and media played a huge role in amplifying them for profit. And I'll just give you some historical examples of staged or media-fueled NBA conflicts. Number 1 on the list, Magic Johnson versus Larry Bird in the 80s. The reality is that a real rivalry that started in college during the NCAA Finals in 1979 had carried into the NBA. The stage element about it was that the NBA and media played up the racial divide. They played into the black versus white race card, even with the nicknames they gave the teams. The Showtime Lakers versus the Blue Collar Celtics. And that was all to drive viewership, but it further divided American people. So what was the result of all of this? The NBA's popularity exploded, and the league marketed them as the two faces of basketball. Number 2 on the list, Michael Jordan versus Isaiah Thomas in the 80s through the 90s. The reality was that the Bulls and the Pistons had real bad blood for each other, but the NBA exaggerated it. How they staged it, they put a story out there that Isaiah was left off of the Dream Team because of MJ. The narrative was pushed hard, even though there were multiple factors at play. The result of that was one of the most infamous NBA feuds of all times, and it kept fans engaged for decades. Number 4 on the list, can't forget about this one, from the late 1990s to the early 2000s, Shaq and Kobe had beef. The reality was they really had tension, but the media exaggerated the beef to sell stories. The staged element of it all was that the NBA was putting propaganda out there saying that they actually hated each other. And it was leaning into the they hate each other narrative, even after they had squashed a lot of their issues. And as a result, even after they split, the rivalry helped drive Lakers versus Heat matchups and kept both stars in the spotlight. Why would the NBA promote such negative division among these two brothers? It's the same point that I'm making about Universal Music Group. Both Drake and Kendrick are a part of UMG. And what this beef is gonna do, it's gonna make Drake sales go up and Kendrick sales go up, because people gonna want to hear Drake's response, even if they hate Drake. Even if you're a Kendrick Lamar fan, when Drake responds with a diss song, you're going to want to go to his channel and give him a view or a stream so that you can hate on it, so that you can do your review on your channel and talk crap about it and clown it. So even if you hate Drake, you're gonna give him that view, that stream, that listen. Same with Kendrick. It's only a win-win for the labels and maybe even for the artists, but it's definitely an L for the culture of hip-hop and for the people. And the same thing with the NBA. We just want to see talent on the court and good basketball. We're not really there for the antics, the hype, and the soap opera style tabloids. But this is a way to drive sales very quickly. We're living in a world where everyone wants microwave results. And to get those, sometimes you have to cut corners. And when we cut corners, oftentimes it's at the expense of the fans and of the people who really love the sport and who really love the music and the culture. I want to ask a question. Is anyone else picking up on a trend? Because I surely am. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just keep watching. I'll tell you in a second here. LeBron James versus Kevin Durant. And this one started from the 2010s all the way up into actually the present time. And the reality of this one is that both of these are two of the best players in the game, and they never had deep personal issues. The stage element is that the NBA and sports media pushed a rivalry that didn't really exist, especially after Durant joined the Warriors. And the result was that it gave fans a clear villain, KD, and a hero, LeBron. And all of that was just to boost sales to the finals and boost the ratings, the viewership ratings. So that trend that I was asking y'all about earlier with all of these NBA beefs, if you didn't pick up to it, every last one of these beefs, except for one, is the NBA pitting two black men against each other. And the only one that's an exception is the Larry Bird beef with Magic Johnson. But it's most of the time it's two black men like Russell Westbrook versus KD, or LeBron versus Steph Curry, or what about James Harden versus Giannis? It's always a trend. Just like in the music industry, these labels would get two of these gang members, these drill rappers, will be signed under the same distributing group, and these same group of people that's funding both sides of the war, to fatten their own pockets, they're doing that on all levels. The NBA, the music industry, even apartheid in Africa, and around the world with real military conflicts. So the idea of fueling conflict and even staging conflicts and staging beefs is very common throughout multiple industries.
There's been a lot of back and forth between you and Hitman leading up to it. Like, is it just competition, or is there genuine animosity?
For me, it's competition, man. I don't really got no real beef with none of these niggas.
Man, I don't really got no real beef with none of these niggas. Man, I don't really got no real beef with none of these niggas.
Like I say, man, because then that'll be being fake. Like, we got real beefs. You know what I'm saying? I can't be beefing with no rappers. You know what I'm saying? Not like that. You feel me? Like, so to me, it's like, it's just competition.
Staging beefs is very common throughout multiple industries. Coke versus Pepsi, Burger King versus McDonald's. All it does is drive sales to both companies, and they both are in on it. If Burger King come out with a new type of chicken burger, then McDonald's is gonna respond to it, and they both will release these chicken burgers around the same time, and it'll benefit both companies. And they will make commercials and media propaganda to promote the beef and fuel the rivalry, because it'll boost ratings and sales. It'll make people say, well, let me try this one and try that one and see which one is best. And if you know any more of these, drop them in the comment section, because there's a lot of rivalries that are pushed on purpose just to boost ratings. So of course we know that Drake and Kendrick ain't on the same label, but their record labels are connected through their major parent company. And that's the one that ultimately benefits from their beef. And that is Universal Music Group, or UMG. What's so crazy about today's beef with Kendrick Lamar and Drake is that the same company that owned both of these artists also bought 50% of Interscope Records back in '96. And when they bought 50% of Interscope, they weren't called Universal Music Group at the time. They was called MCA Incorporated. I always wondered whatever happened to MCA. And I'm very slow because I'm realizing that it later became UMG. It owns 50% of Interscope, but if you trace the history back, this same company would have owned Death Row Records. What we call MCA or UMG, they own 50% of Interscope. These same people own Death Row Records. This was Death Row Records' parent company during the Tupac and Biggie beef. So there's a history of fueling beef and these small hats fattening their pockets at the expense of young brothers, pitting them against each other and all that. Warner Brothers owned half of Death Row Records during this time. So it was 50-50 with Warner Music Group and UMG or Interscope. But later, Time Warner, the Warner Brothers, parted their ways with Death Row due to controversies surrounding gangster rap. Because of course the Warner Brothers, they just wanted to get in and get out because their brand and their image is too uppity for the gangster rap culture anyway. But these small hats promoted the East Coast, West Coast beef to fatten their pockets. BMG owned Bad Boy Records on the East Coast, which is a bunch of German people who you probably never heard of. And if y'all want me to do a documentary on the Warner Brothers and the German family that owns BMG, get in the comment section and let me know, because BMG is the main influencer of most of your streaming platforms and all of that today. And there's a real evil, sinister agenda behind that. And I think I just may will do a documentary on that agenda and who these people are. Y'all let me know what you think. Should we do it or not? Drake and Kendrick are both legends, and you can have your favorite, but don't let it blind you. Don't let it make you hate your own people, because if the enemy's plan is to enrich himself while at the same time dividing us up, then this industry orchestrated beef is doing just that. The division is exactly what they want. We need to start waking up and seeing the game for what it is. Because when the beef is over, the labels will move on to the next big distraction and we'll be left divided. I also would argue that hip-hop was built on community, creativity, and power, not petty division. If you look at what's going on with the music game now, you don't have to be as talented, you don't have to be as lyrically savvy as we once did. You just have to have a lot of dirt on your opponent and a lot of antics. For example, with Serena Williams being on stage during the Super Bowl and that being one of Drake's ex-girlfriends. The art form is turning more and more into hit pieces, ratchetness, and just dirt slinging. So I think that the people is ultimately being robbed when it comes to the state of hip hop today, but that's just my opinion. Either we gonna wake up and unite or keep getting played. It's really that simple. Peace.